Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about Taco Bell and fast food in general. This is going to be an incredibly nerdy rant video that nobody should really care about unless you are invested in fast food for some reason or you're a fan, maybe. For normal people, the important thing to take away, the too long did not listen to this long rant video, is that Taco Bell is bringing back a nostalgia menu. It's got 5 items on it. Here they are. We've got the tostada green burrito, Mexamelt, beef gordita supreme, and the caramel apple empanada, which, as I'm sure most people would say when they see this, would think that's not very representative of nostalgia for Taco Bell. And that's essentially what I'm going to get into. But the most important thing is that it's insanely overpriced. They're charging $2.19 for a tostada, but most importantly, $2.99 for a caramel apple empanada, a beloved item that people used to love, that was taken away, that used to cost $1 and never cost anything more than $1, and is now $3 upon its reintroduction nostalgically in 2024 in October, which is just insane. Like, what? Like, who in their right mind thought that, oh, we'll put out a nostalgia menu. Well, remember the caramel apple empanada? That was so good. Let's put that out at $2.99. Let's put it out at triple the price after, a couple years of people complaining about inflation and how things cost more, and us gouging our customers and releasing overpriced bullshit and not having a value menu, and then remaking the value menu to be worse with worse items, and then charging more, and then making it the $3 menu, and blah, blah, blah. How about we do even worse and come out with a nostalgia menu, which should appeal to fans of Taco Bell, but not really include the items people want, first of all, and then second of all, triple the price of what is probably, I would assume, the most anticipated item coming back, because the other items you can basically get right now. There is nothing stopping Taco Bell, really. I mean, I guess aside from the tostada, I guess they could use a Crunchwrap shell. I'm not sure what the difference in size is, but they have all the ingredients for those other things. There's no reason why they can't just do this right now, except for maybe the green burrito, which has maybe its own green sauce, I guess. But otherwise, you could make your own Mexi-Melt now. You could get a beef gordita supreme right now, and you could make a tostada technically, even though they don't sell it. They have the ingredients. So the caramel empanada is really the only new thing, and it's triple the price, and it sucks. That's the too long. Did not read of this video. It looks like I'm a little under 3 minutes, so congratulations. Just don't go to Taco Bell. Now, for everybody else, I'm going to get into a little bit of history and talk about Taco Bell, a company that I used to love, that I feel built up a customer fan base through my childhood, and a little bit before that, by focusing on value and newness. I can't think of the word right now. Unique items. They focused on always refreshing their menu and coming up with new things that were also a value that you could go to and you could fill up on. That, we all know it's not healthy. We all know it's kind of a mix of the same ingredients, but it was cheap and it was good. In the last, I'd say, 10 years, Taco Bell has gone downhill, but really it's been the last, 4 years since COVID that things have rapidly shifted. Instead of slowly ratcheting up the prices and getting people used to more expensive things, they have shifted the knob into, we don't care anymore. We want to get the max amount of money in the short term. That's all that matters, apparently. It's evident from pretty much every company on earth, but it's extremely evident with Taco Bell specifically that they're not concerned with catering to their actual fans. They're not concerned with retaining a customer base of people of a lower income. They don't really care about that. All they care about is milking the audience that they currently have for as much money as possible in the near term, so that they can, hit their bonuses, hit their numbers, and not lose money, which is starting to happen because people are starting to see how things are shifting. Of course, Taco Bell so far has been kind of immune to this. But they're pretty much the only one. They're the only holdout so far, and if they keep going the way they're going, hopefully they will also lose money too. Ideally, that's what needs to happen, apparently, for them to get the message. is just to stop by Taco Bell, which I've already done. I mean, I haven't been to Taco Bell in probably a month and a half, 2 months, and I don't feel the inkling to go. And this nostalgia menu definitely doesn't make me want to go. When I heard nostalgia menu, I thought, oh, great, that'll be a great video. 5 items that I can review in one video of across the decades. That sounds really cool. But then they put this out, which is items that they've had. The 60s tostada is especially funny because they had a tostada forever. They only took it away recently, like a couple years ago. Same with the Meximelt, same with the Gordita Supreme, and same with the Caramel Apple Empanada. Those have been there for a long time. Those aren't actually representative of the decades. Instead of, we should be getting things like the Bell Beefer, grilled stuffed nachos would be a nice one. This made me laugh. I saw this on Reddit. This is so accurate. I don't know why they wouldn't do this. I didn't particularly like the naked chicken chalupa, to be honest, but at least it's interesting. The grilled stuffed nacho is a classic. Everybody loved that. What are these called? The loaded grillers. Those were really good because they were cheap and filling and delicious. The volcano menu, everybody likes that. Everybody likes the Frito burrito, which they keep taking out and coming back. Again, specifically to milk you by coming back at a higher price. I'm sure this beefy crunch burrito will be back again, probably for $2.99, maybe $3.99. Who knows? But yeah, this is what we need. When you go on the Taco Bell subreddit and this is what you see, this was around the time that this came out. You should respond to that. Like, Taco Bell should have a response for people who look at this menu and say, what the hell is this? Why is your nostalgia menu not really that nostalgic? It's insane to me how they don't respond, but it makes sense when you think about the fact that short-term gains are really all that most people are looking for. They're not really that interested in what's going to be Taco Bell's image 5 years from now. They're interested in what Taco Bell looks like 3 months from now when the quarter ends. And that's why Taco Bell keeps going downhill. It's short-term planning, and it's what businesses seem to have shifted to. I mean, they've already been this way. Most businesses, big businesses, operate on quarterly profits anyway. But it has shifted into overdrive, and basically we're reaching the point where things like shrinkflation, things like slowly raising the prices of staple items, but they're starting with fast food and things like that. Then they go to the grocery store, blah blah blah. This kind of stuff is starting to become so evident to the average person that they can't hide it really anymore. Everybody sees it. Everybody sees through their kind of like tricky moves. They've always done the shrinkflation thing. That's been happening for a long time, but now they've done it so much, so rapidly over the last 4 or 5 years that it's so extremely noticeable. It's like when you go, let me give you an example that some people might really affect and know, especially since it's about to be Halloween. The 8-pack of chocolates that they came out with, which were a 10-pack of chocolates that they came out with, and you could get, Reese's or Kit Kats or Hershey's. I think it's the Hershey's brands in the little plastic sleeve that's like a rectangle. It started out like that. I think it was 10. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But I remember there being 8, right? Then they went down to 6. And then today I went to Dollar General because it's close and I wanted some tea. And I look and it's 5. So I can now get 5 Reese's cups in the little rectangle. And not only that, it's not $1 anymore. It's $1.50. So I'm not only paying 50% more for the same product, it's also approximately, 40% less than it was. I'm not a good mathematician, but it's almost the inverse of what it lost is what it gained in terms of price. So you're getting double screwed either way. And it becomes extremely noticeable when you start going from 8 to 5. It's not something that might be noticeable when you switch from 20 fluid ounces to 19 fluid ounces. People might not notice. But when you switch from 20 ounces to 19 ounces to 17 ounces to 16 ounces to 15 ounces in the course of 5 years, then it starts to be noticeable, especially when you also raise prices at the same time and blame inflation when you make record profits every single quarter. And that's the problem with pretty much everything. But the important thing really as a consumer, in my mind, my philosophy is to obviously I would love if people would boycott things, but that just doesn't happen. People don't boycott things. People don't stop buying things until they hit their own personal limit. I've hit my personal limit with Taco Bell. They're pretty much dead to me. Obviously, I'm not going to say I'll never go back to Taco Bell. That's not true. I'm definitely going to eat Taco Bell again. But I've gone from somebody who would go to Taco Bell, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a month to maybe 2 or 3 times a year. That's a drastic change, and it's specifically because of the way they operate and the way that they price their items that makes me go away from it, because it's frankly ridiculous, you know. And everybody reaches their limit monetarily differently because everybody has, you know, different finances and different ideas of what, you know, a dollar is worth and all that good stuff. But the important point I'm trying to say is telling people to boycott won't work. If I make this video and just say it's expensive, don't get it, that might influence 1 or 2 people, maybe, if I'm lucky, but really most people will never do that, because if they like Taco Bell, they like Taco Bell, and the money isn't really a concern for a lot of people when it comes to prices that are, you know, $2 or $3. But it is a concern for me, and it is a concern for quite a few people. I would say the majority of people, when you start getting out of bounds of what is cheap and into kind of, you know, I almost want to say restaurant prices, but not really. But when you start getting out of the bounds of value, when you lose the value of what was a dollar menu and, you know, try to inexplicably rise it to $3, there was no $2 menu. They skipped that and went straight to $3. It's that kind of greed, that overreach, that really triggers in my mind the urge to make this video and try to explain to people where I'm coming from. That's all. I trying to explain that I don't really care about any corporation anymore. It's great if you're a fan. I used to be a fan of Taco Bell, and I think it's fine to be a fan of something, but it's not fine to just blindly follow something, essentially. And as a fan, or a lapsed fan now of Taco Bell, I feel like I have to stand up and say what the hell is going on, which is why I'm making this video that nobody cares about. But the important thing to me is to at least say it. Maybe one person will say, hey, I'm not going to go to Taco Bell and try this nostalgia menu I was going to, but now I'm not. And that's good enough for me, or maybe nobody does. Who cares? But, you know, I got the time to make the video, so here I am. So, anyway, this nostalgia menu, it's BS. The tostada for $2.19, again, used to be $1, was around forever. And green burrito is an interesting one, because it's got the green sauce, which they don't normally have. But again, $2.49 for a bean and cheese burrito with some extra sauce, not good. Mexamelt, again, a staple that was around for a long time that they took off the menu, now $2.99. Beef Gordita Supreme, this is perhaps the only one that seems reasonable at $2.99. But who cares about a Beef Gordita Supreme? That's not something many people were missing, because it's just a taco with a different shell. It's not really that interesting. And then the caramel apple empanada, of course, the most recent, probably the most nostalgic for most people who are in the demographic of going to Taco Bell, i.e. younger people. They remember the caramel apple empanada. And of course, now it is $2.99 and almost guaranteed to be smaller than it was. We'll never be able to really confirm that because obviously we don't have an old one, but, you know, that's just how it is. We'll see how good the caramel empanada is for $2.99 really, but we all know it's going to probably be worse, or at the very least the same, but at 3 times the cost, which is just horrible and should be called out. That's what I want, is just, I want anybody who sees this to, you know, say to somebody else, hey, this sucks. That's it. You know, the only way to really get these things to change is to change the attitude of pretty much everybody, which is impossible, of course, but to just, you know, keep putting the information out there. So that's what I'm doing, you know, even though I'm not touching probably anybody with this video. I keep putting it out there. Maybe somebody will see it and change their mind. Maybe they'll change somebody else's mind and we can change the whole flow of it. That's the important part. We got to start thinking of these fast food entities not as friends or as, you know, places to be fans of, really. We can't do that in this day and age anymore. That's my opinion. In this time, in this modern era, it's just not going to work. The only thing you can do if you are a fan is push back hard on everything that you see that is wrong and bad and lazy and taking advantage of people, which is what this is. Now, we're going to move on a little bit. This is going to, again, be extremely nerdy video. What I want to talk about real quick, we got Burger King's menu. Again, this is probably the most lazy thing they could have ever done. The things rings is hilarious. Like, whoever came up with that is a genius at being the laziest motherfucker on earth, because they just put a different container on onion rings. Great. Whopper, of course, they said, hey, turn it purple. Great. Again, nothing new there. The shake, I'm not exactly sure what's new. It's got cake batter fudge and some cookie pieces, so I guess that's technically new, but it's just a chocolate shake, really. And then we have the churro fries, which are the only actually interesting thing on here, and the only thing that should have been on this whole entire menu. It shouldn't be an Addams Family menu. It should just be Gomez churro fries, because that's the only thing that's legitimately Addams Family on here at all, that would match this theme at all, and that's lazy. Anyways, the last thing I want to get to, perhaps most importantly, depending on how you look at it, for the diehards who are still watching this video, I want to talk about fast food reviews and reporting, and specifically this review right here, which came out recently, of KFC's new chicken tenders, right? From The Takeout, which I don't follow them. I don't really know them, but I assume that they're what a lot of people get, like normal people might get fast food news from, like maybe MSNBC or Yahoo or some shit, or Facebook pulls like articles from The Takeout. Because I saw this on Reddit, of course, the fast food Reddit, and that they pull a lot of things from The Takeout. But calling this a review is extremely disingenuous, in my opinion. By Michael Pollan. I don't know him. I don't want to disparage anybody, but this is so clearly a paid shill article, and not an actual review, that it hurts. I mean, anybody who reads this review and thinks it's a legit review from somebody is brain dead. That's what I have to assume. It's so clearly an advertisement, and maybe not even paid. This is the important part right here. This is when I knew. I visited KFC's HQ this past spring, which he did a nice article on, for the daily meal, and I was treated to a sneak peek at many items on the menu, including these tenders and saucy nuggets, blah, blah, blah. That's the important part. What happened was KFC paid him to come to their test kitchen and review some things, and now they're getting the dividends, because he's giving them essentially a fluff glow piece on these chicken tenders, because they gave him a paid vacation one time to check them out last spring. So that's what happened, in my mind, allegedly. Either that or that happened, and also they paid more money for this review. That it's one or the other, allegedly. But it's very clear that this is not a viable reviewer, in my opinion. Especially when they disclose this kind of thing, which is fine. Actually, it's interesting that they do disclose this, because I like that from a journalistic standpoint. And they even put right here, some recommendations are based on first-hand impressions of promotional materials, which is obviously clear. But then they go into the most glowing, like, glaze-up article on earth, as evidenced by the name. The title threw me off as well. KFC's original recipe tenders would make the Colonel proud of his delicious legacy, which is hilarious if you've ever learned any actual history about the Colonel and how much he fucking hated what KFC turned into, which is funny. But anyways, we'll get back into his fluff piece, which starts with how to buy the KFC tenders, which is information that nobody on earth needs. Not even a young child needs information on how to order food at a fucking restaurant or a fast food place. But he starts with that. Here's how you spend your money at KFC. They're available while supplies last, of course, which is bullshit, whatever. It's fucking chicken at KFC. They're usually available to order at any time KFC is open, which starts usually at 10:30 a.m. They can be ordered in restaurant, at the kiosk, at a register, or at the drive-thru. Advanced ordering for pickup or even delivery can be placed on KFC's website or app. The tenders can be ordered in many denominations, from a single tender for $2.89 to as many as 16 pieces as an a la carte order for $36.99. Now, that obviously this is like copy from a press release or like slightly reworded from some kind of press release or information sheet that he was given, but that's a horrible fucking price. Or a meal deal that includes 4 sides and 8 dipping sauces for $52.49. Who on earth is going to buy 16 tenders meal for $52 at KFC? But, you know, let's go on. For $5, you can order a 3-piece box, which includes 2 dipping sauces and an order of fries. Again, this is them repeating what used to be a $5 deal that came with a cookie and a drink and taking out the cookie and a drink and saying includes 2 dipping sauces like as a selling point when sauces should and have always come with tenders. That's a thing. You know, you need dipping sauce with tenders. Advertising that it comes with 2 sauces is another reframing of what sauces used to be. You used to be able to just get as many sauces as you want, ask for whatever sauce you want. Didn't matter what kind of chicken you want. Now they're saying, oh, you can get 2 sauces with your 3 tenders, and if you want more, then, you know, fuck you, essentially, which is funny. Anyways, there's also a 2-piece kids meal that retails for $5.79, which includes a side, a drink, and a toy. Great. These prices were from my local Manhattan KFC, which might actually be a little higher than normal, but either way, it sucks. And then he goes into how they're made. Again, he must have pulled all of this from some kind of information sheet just to fill out this article, which is, again, hilarious. To make this thing longer, he's got a bunch of shitty-ass pictures. He's got a picture of the kiosk, of this picture, which was staged apparently to look good, but it looks terrible. This picture, which actually looks decent, but has more than 3 chicken tenders in it, so that's clearly not correct. Then we have this picture of him having it in the sauce, which is, again, unnecessary. This picture, again, unnecessary. Just fluffing it out until we get to the actual review. Now, again, this article is a review, and we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs in, 6 paragraphs of 11 before we get to the actual how does it taste. And then we get into this beautiful man's prose. As I opened my white, red, and black box of chicken tenders, those colors quickly receded into the background as a pile of golden brown hues that dominated the innards refocused my eyes and attention. Next to a handful of thick potatoey fries, housed in a paper holder were 3 thick tenders that measured about 5 inches in length. These meaty pieces resembled the elongated map of Long Island, and could also be mistaken for nice pieces of fried fish. They had a firm and crusty exterior, with small flecks of pepper strewn about. As I leaned in for a quick whiff, the essence of the Colonel's original recipe of 11 herbs and spices took hold of my nostrils. My mouth bit down on the tender, and the initial result netted the perfect juxtaposition one would look for with one. A crunchy skin that coats a juicy and tender hunk of white meat chicken. I was instantly smitten with its taste. It had a both familiar flavor profile that hailed from the house of KFC, but also offered a new, lengthy way to enjoy it. Due to its girthy stature, the tenders didn't disappear in a flash, thus allowing an eater to enjoy and savor a single one with a few leisurely nibbles. Now, in my opinion, that's a man who wants to fuck a KFC tender. I mean, it feels like he wants to fuck Colonel Sanders when I read this. It's obviously sexual. He put girthy twice in here. He's got length and girth going everywhere. Tenders in his mind equate to dicks. Anyways, the important part is that's not a review. This is a fucking, this is erotica about KFC. There's no criticisms. There's no nothing. It's just a fluff piece, and I hate it. And that's the state of journalism in the fast food industry, and that's been the state forever. It's just a little bit more blatant now, but really that's all fast food journalism has ever been. Every single review you see on websites like this are generally just fluff pieces. Again, they don't criticize anything. They post information usually and news, and when it's a review, you can clearly tell that they have no journalistic scruples at all. And that's my point, is that when you're looking in the world of fast food reviews, and this is what I want, I really ultimately would like to do. I'd love to be able to actually review fast food like I've been doing on a regular basis, but frankly, it's unaffordable for me at this time. But that's what I want to see in this world, is a website like this that is actually critical. But the problem is that they'll never survive in the current marketplace, And it's the reason why my reviews are so infrequent, is because it costs a lot of money to eat fast food these days, and honestly, I can't afford it. I don't necessarily want to eat it that much anymore, because my mind has turned to where fast food, which used to be a cheap, filling meal to have that I would get often, probably too often, 4 or 5 times a week, into something special, which is probably, maybe what it should be for a normal, healthy adult, is fast food should be an occasional thing that you pay maybe a little more for, but it's too much. It's just too much. And these kind of the reviews and views you get in the mainstream, that you get in general, are all tilted to the positive, because they all make money from the companies. It's a symbiotic relationship. There's advertisements, for example, for food on the food review website. And they're not going to pay for an ad on a website or with a channel, or with a personality that's critical of them. Why would they ever do that? So everybody has to toe the line, essentially, to avoid not getting paid, which means they can't be too critical of anything, so everything turns into a glow fluff piece, like that piece we just read from Michael Palin, and it sucks. And I mean, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, really, this is about fast food, so it's not really too much of an issue. On the list of issues in the world, it's probably very low. But it does affect me personally, and it does affect a lot of low-income people, what these companies are doing, and I want it to be known. I want that to be the narrative. I want the narrative to be, when KFC comes out with their 3-piece tenders and shitty fries meal, which looks like shit, again, in this picture, with 2 sauces, I want the TikToks and reactions not to be people taking a bite and saying, this is some good fucking chicken, which is probably what's going to happen, or go, advertising basically for KFC, whether for free or paid. I want people to be critical of these companies. It's something that we need to embrace, in my opinion. Be critical. And, there's a lot of people who, it's great to be positive. I love that. I like having a positive mental attitude and all that. But you have to be critical when it comes to corporations. That's the important part. Be nice to people, be nice to the workers, be nice to people you meet in everyday life, be nice in person, be nice online, be nice to everybody you talk to who is a person that you can identify. But do not ever be nice to a corporation, okay? Don't be nice to a company. Don't be nice to KFC. They're not your local mom and pop. They're not a restaurant around the corner. They're KFC. It doesn't matter if they're a franchise or not. It's KFC, and you should always, always be critical of them. You should always be critical of McDonald's. You should always be critical of Taco Bell. You should always be critical of everything that comes from a corporation. Don't assume that anything is for your benefit, because it's not. Everything is to make an extra dollar, whether it seems like a good deal to you or not. There's always an underlying reason why they do things. And essentially them putting this $5 3-piece tender meal out without the drink, and highlighting the 2 sauces, is them reframing it in everybody's mind that now a $5 meal shouldn't have a drink, when they started with the $5 meals having a drink. So now everybody else can move to their $5 meals not having a drink, for example, and it will be seen as normative, essentially. That's how these things move. It's a trend. They're the ones who control it, and they control the prices, of course. So the only thing we have is our voice, and that's why I'm telling you, fuck KFC and every other corporation around. Take advantage of them when you can. If you got a coupon that's pretty good, use it, but don't buy anything else. For example, I have a Sonic near me. I like Sonic in general. I would say I'm a fan. However, I still think that they're a huge corporation that I don't really care about. And when I go there, I always have a coupon. For example, I had a buy one get one free entree coupon, so I got 2 big double cheeseburgers for like $6. Didn't buy anything else, got out of there. That's essentially what the transaction should be, in my opinion. That's what it's worth. Those 2 burgers are worth about $6, but I didn't buy anything else because everything else was too expensive, and that's what they're relying on to make up the difference for coupon people, is people to buy other things. So when you use a coupon, don't do anything else. If you're using the app, use a coupon in the app. Go ahead and do it twice if you can. If there's a lockout timer, wait out the lockout timer. All that good stuff if you have the time. Obviously, if you don't have the time and you're just trying to get some food on the way home, I would encourage you to try to find a local place, and if not, it is what it is. But try to go for alternatives. Try to stop spending so much money with them so that they'll get the message. And even if you can't, even if you don't care, maybe just think about it. That's all. Think about how these companies are taking your money more and more without giving you anything in return. Essentially, think about how things used to be. I know it's like an old man thing, but it's concrete in a lot of these cases that things were more for less, and now you get less for more. And that's just simply the way it is, and it shouldn't be that way. And the only way to change that is to hurt the bottom line of the company, because nobody on the board or CEO have any morality. That's my assumption. If you're a CEO of a big company, then I assume that you're about the money. There is no, calculation at a corporate level between the morals of a situation and the financials. All that matters is the financials. It doesn't matter anything else, essentially. But you as a consumer have the power to affect those financials. That's the important part. Without you buying stuff, there is no company. So you have the power, and you should use that. But again, I know boycotting doesn't work, but just think about that. Next time something's price goes up, next time you see some shrinkflation, write a tweet about it, tell a friend, think about it, get it in your head, work on that mindset that corporations are not your friend, never have been, never will be, and that everything they say is designed to make more money for them. That's it. There's nothing, if something helps you, it's a side effect of them making more money. It's plain and simple. That's all. That's the end message. So thanks for watching. If you did watch this rant, I appreciate it, and I don't know what I'm going to do next with the YouTube videos. I'd like to do reviews, but there's just nothing that's actually exciting to me right now. Like the $5 tender meal, fuck that. The Morticia, the Addams Family shit is stupid. There's nothing actually exciting to really review, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But with that, I'll see you all next time.